What is up, guys? It is Barry Michael Doyle here, and welcome to the 7th part of our React Native Redux tutorial, where I show you how to build this Capo Keys application that I've deployed on the Google Play App Store from scratch all the way to deployment. Now, in this part, we're going to be focusing on building this key component. So we're going to call this the key buttons component. And this is just the component that has this key title over here, and then the actual key that is selected, as well as the various little buttons in this button group here that I'm tapping away at. I've got a tap on this on my phone, so that's why you can see that. Anyway, before we get started, if you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button down here, and be sure to like the video, and let me know in the comments below telling me that you're enjoying it so far and you'd like to see more. Anyway, let's head over to our code. Here we are in Visual Studio Code, and we've got our app.js file open at the moment, and currently it's got our provider with our main navigator inside it. The main navigator is showing our main screen, which is stored in our screens folder, and we've imported from there, main screen. So in here we have a bunch of things. We have our static navigation options, which I'm going to make smaller there. And this is also, the image caching is already there. We don't have to worry about the state or this component will mount or any of these things. We are focused on our render. So what we need to do here is implement our keys buttons component, which we have set up in components. There's nothing there yet, but we're going to do that soon. So I'm going to just put in the component here so long so we know it's there. Keys buttons. That is what we're calling it, and we are going to import that from the top here. We should go import keys buttons. That's what we're going to call it, from components. Oh, sorry, this is one root up, so we have to go up to components and then into keys buttons. So obviously ESLint is going to freak out that this doesn't exist, or it's defined, but yes, I have to actually name this correctly. There we go. This won't work yet because we haven't done anything in keys buttons. So let's head over to our keys buttons component. What we need to do is our general import React from React, obviously, and this is also going to be a normal React component, so we're going to import component from there as well. Just got some spaces in there that's being issues, and I also want to import view from, I need to spell this view right, from React Native. Excellent. So what we need to do now is do the boilerplate of creating our keys button component, which is going to extend. So we say extends component, and it's going to have its render method in here, and we're going to return the empty view tag for now. Finally, I want to export default keys buttons. So there we go, we've got our boilerplate for our application all done. So now if we go look into our app, what needs to be implemented, here is our app. We are trying to implement this whole keys button section. So it's going to have a text and another text, notice they're different sizes, and a button group. So what we're going to do here is implement this view. So let's just style our view a bit as well. So we're going to add a style prop to it, and we're going to put this in here and say we want to do justify content, and it's going to be center. We're also going to, I need to spell center right, align the items to be centered as well. So we do that by doing this, and I'll be able to show you what this does by looking at our app. So here we have our application, and we're focusing on this keys button component. Now what I want you to notice is that everything here is centered. So that's what the align item center does. They center everything. And we also have the justify content, which makes everything evenly spaced in the space that it occupies. This is a very important thing to consider because we'd like to have things evenly spaced without managing the exact heights and stuff. And there goes my phone application. So that sorts that out. So let's head back into our code and continue on with our project. The next thing we need to implement is the text components. So we're going to have those two text components, the one for the key and the other one for that, in that case it was C, or it's whatever the selected key is going to be at the time. I'm just going to put C there in for now. Now, instead of getting text from React Native, I'm going to import text from React Native Elements. Now in our previous project, the YouTube one, I'll leave a link to it up here, we used React Native Elements, so I'm not going to focus too much on how that's an amazing new thing. I'll leave some links to the documentation for React Native Elements in the description below. But we're going to get this from React Native Elements, and before I go on, we need to import it. So I've already installed the package for React Native Elements, but what you need to do is run npm install --save and React Native Elements. Cool, so you can just run that. I did want to do a shout out to one of my viewers. He commented to say that if it doesn't work, you don't have to run it as an administrator, you just have to run it again. It's a Windows issue with firewalls and stuff. So I didn't know that, but you learn new things every day. So that was pretty cool of him. Another thing we want to do is get the ButtonGroup from here. So I just want to get that along. Now, if you're familiar with web development, you get those header tags. You get H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, all the way to H6. Now, you can apply those to these text components if they are components from React Native Elements and not just normal React Native components. So you do that by, in this case, I wanted to make the key smaller, if you remember from our example in the application, and we want the actual selected key to be bigger. So H3 is going to be smaller than H1. H1 is the biggest, H6 is the smallest. So this is just a really cool, neat little style you can get there. Another little thing I just know from the side of what I was doing, I'm adding a little style in here because I found out that the margin underneath is just not big enough, so I'm going to make margin bottom equal to 2. Just a little hack there that will save ourselves some trouble from later. Now, the next thing we're going to implement is the ButtonGroup. And this is where things are going to start getting a little bit more complicated. I'll try get the easy parts over and done with first. So like usual, you get a whole bunch of different styles. You'll get a container style, and we can get a button style from this ButtonGroup component. This is all in the documentation for React Native Elements, so you can find it there. And then there's also selected background color, which we're going to use. And we're going to have a selected text style, which I want to use as well. So there's a whole bunch of styles here that I would like to make use of, which I am not using yet, so we have to implement these styles. What we're going to do is we're going to make a styles variable, and we're going to make container styles. This is all stuff I've just worked out to make our application look nice. Styles, you can change them to however you want them to be, but we want them to have a height of 40 and a width of the screen width times 0.9. Now, I don't think I've got screen width yet. Yes, I need to actually go create screen width. So screen width is going to be something that we get from React Native, actually. We can get the dimensions from React Native, which is a pretty cool function. And to get the screen width, for now, I'm just going to set it at the top here. We want constant screen width to be the dimensions. It doesn't have to be capital there, sorry. Dimensions.get window, and we want to get the width of the window. So this is how you can get the screen width of your window. So I want to get 90% of the screen width, so it doesn't go all the way across the screen, just to go 90%. So there's a margin of 5% on each side of the screen. It just makes it look a bit nicer. So that said, let's continue with our styles. So we also want to have the button style. So I'm just getting all these styles from here. And we want to set the button style to equal background color white. So I want the buttons to just have a nice background color of white. This needs to be in as a string, and nothing needs to be there. Right, now that I think of it, I don't actually need to change the selected background color because I was changing the selected text style, so I don't even need that in there. So sorry about misguiding you there. We're gonna have a selected text style, which needs to equal, I'm making the selected text orange, like the color to just be orange, because I think that's a nice way to make it stand out and look selected. And also we're gonna make the font weight 900, which is the maximum font weight possible. So that just makes it bold orange when the text is selected for that color. So that's a very non-obtrusive thing, which I really like. And now finally, we need to implement these styles into our project. So this goes into the render method, and we need to get the const. We are getting container style, and we're getting button style. We're also getting selected text style, and we're getting these from the styles, which we have mentioned down over there. I always forget to call the styles. You guys are gonna like know me as the guy who forgets to call these styles. I like to call them styles instead of style because they're referring to multiple styles. And now in here we just simply say container style and button style, as well as selected text style. So that is all sorted. Right guys, so I have kind of realized that this video is going to be longer than I thought, so I think I'm going to continue the rest of this in the next video. But what we're going to do in that next video is we are going to, well, let me just say this because I want to save our progress. What we need to do now is actually figure out how we're going to connect this key buttons component to the application state. And I was planning to do it in this video, and then I realized this video is carrying on quite long. So what we've done so far is we have created what everything's going to look like, except the buttons themselves. So the button group, it has its own little property called buttons. And in here you set the like mapped out component for all the buttons that you put in there. But we'll do that in the next video, because the next video we're going to connect this to our application state so that we can get the keys over here, the key list, to put it in and match our buttons to that, as well as doing the on click stuff. So on press we'll have like an index, and we do the whole selected things that we've put inside these reducers and actions. But that's quite a step, so I'm gonna put that all into the next video. As usual though, if you guys enjoy this and want me to carry on, please say, I don't know, let me know in the comments below saying please carry on or something. I don't know. I really appreciate the comments. I love replying to you guys, and it's been such a blast chatting to you guys in the comments. So yeah, keep that up. And as usual, if you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button over here and leave a like in the video. Anyway guys, I will catch you in the next one. Ciao.